Okay, let's imagine the wave as it applies to some of the disappointments that family members have had given the coronavirus. So it might be that a trip that had been worked towards has now been cancelled, or it could be that a play or a musical or some important sports event has been cancelled for your child. And they come into the kitchen and you can see they're irritated and they mention something about that disappointment. How do you respond? Are you able to sit and watch them talk about it, show a little bit of emotion, and watch their wave as it just slightly increases and goes up and up and up? And then if you're able to stay quiet and just present with them, then hopefully what will happen is they will self-regulate. Now, if we don't do that, what can happen is, and this is what we're working with your children on, the idea that we all have emotions. So if something's been cancelled that was really important, then of course you're going to feel bad. And when you think about it, your emotions are going to go up, just like you see in this wave. Then they get to a peak and we actually have a choice. We can calm ourselves down, and later in the course we talk about ways of calming ourselves down, or we can make the emotion worse. And the way that we make the emotion worse is either to be really critical of ourselves and upset, and that might include thinking, I shouldn't feel upset at all about this. I'm stupid to feel bad about this. If you give yourself messages like everyone else is going through it, so I shouldn't feel disappointment, or there's something embarrassing about having feelings, or you feel guilty that you're concerned about yourself and your own disappointments, given everyone else is also going through disappointments. All those things can make you have an inburst, which is where we think a person gets really critical and unhappy with themselves. And so not only do they then suffer the disappointment, but they're also getting upset with themselves for feeling bad about it. So that's an inburst. An outburst is when you get really angry outwardly and everyone can see it. And that's the sort of explosions that we might see. Again, if you're giving yourself the message that it's not all right to feel that disappointment. So we need to let ourselves experience this as disappointment. And it's the same with a lot of other emotions. We need to experience feelings, watch them go to a peak, and then make a choice. Will we self-regulate and calm ourselves down, or will we turn this into an inburst or an outburst? And as parents, we can think about our role in this process when our children show us their frustration or their irritability or their disappointment. Are we able to quietly sit and just watch as they express it a little bit? Can we just make a small comment but not jump in and try and fix it for them? Because if we can do that, then we let their wave get to its peak and we let them work out how they're going to self-regulate. When we don't do that and we interfere too quickly, or we try to negate what they're saying, we try and dispute or say it's really not that bad, then they don't feel understood, and they also feel a tussle between us and them about who's responsible for calming themselves down. And we want them to take responsibility for calming themselves down. Christiana, yep.
I do find that being in the family environment, and we're so intertwined with our children and their well-being, that we're sort of experiencing their emotions together with ours. So it's almost like we're doubling up on the emotional aspect. And even though I do know that I should be validating and giving it time, it's almost like I feel so pressured for time and sort of being torn between 3 children and myself, and having the feeling you should do things for work and the household. Anyway, in short, there's so many time constraints that it's almost like you're trying to do it all in one go, which is like, yes, I do understand how you're feeling and this would be very disappointing. And then you basically jump straight into trying to tell them why it'll be okay. And so you don't give the process time. I do find it difficult.
So if there's one thing to learn from this experience moving forward, it's being able to use this wave to imagine what's happening. Something's happened to upset people here. Are we all right with watching emotions come, just letting them come till the wave gets to its peak, and then stepping back and letting the person take over? And if you're the person experiencing the emotion, are you able to calm yourself down in a pleasant way? And you may use the self-calming, Or you may want to use an achievement-related activity that we've talked about or we're going to talk about in the circles, rather than getting really angry, either outwardly or inwardly. And that's the wave. Please keep it in mind.